Hi! If you already purchased or you're considering purchasing the Fluid Chords plugin by Pitch Innovations, this is an in-depth, comprehensive tutorial you just can't afford to miss. Fluid Chords is a hosting-enabled MIDI effects plugin that uses MPE technology to deliver chord bending. However, this innovation comes with brand new terminology and perplexing operational modes, which may prevent you from using Fluid Pitch to its full potential. In this video, I'll demo some possible applications of the Fluid Chords plugin. I'll explain how to set up everything and effectively use all the features and settings. I'll show you how to make Fluid Chords work with Ableton Live MPE-compatible instruments such as Wavetable, and how to create your own custom presets. I'll also share my custom presets for the Fluid Chords software. The download link is right below the subscribe button. So let's find out what Fluid Chords has to offer. I have to say, the short travel of the pitch bend wheel does not do justice to this plugin. Luckily, I can use the touch bar of my MacBook Pro to obtain more control. I can glide from close voicing chords to open voicing chords. I can control the portamento of two-note polyphonic melodies. Pitch bend from one note to any chord. I can do really cool chord risers and effects. Access a whole new world of chords in between chords. And some of those chords sound beautiful to me. And finally, something I can describe as augmented keyboard performance. The Fluid Chords can operate as a standalone app or as a VST plugin. If you are new to Fluid Chords, the internal synth, which only has one sound, is the best place to start. Here, I can program some chords on the 8 available pads and start experimenting with polyphonic pitch bending using only my mouse or computer trackpad. Moving the mouse cursor around the pad adjusts velocity. The pads can be easily rearranged and assigned to the keys of the MIDI controller. Unfortunately, each preset can contain 8 pads only. In the Settings menu, I can set up the global transpose, enable the help tray, the puzzling distribute note option, which I'll explain later on, and configure the MPE band range to match an external MPE synth settings. When it comes to MPE plugins, the Fluid Chords software acts as a host. So I'll scan for all the MPE plugins on my system by opening the Plugin Scanner app in the Synth menu. Surge XT and Vital are great, free MPE-compatible synthesizers. Make sure the latest versions of your MPE plugins are installed. Here you can find factory and user presets, learn and clear options, but more on that later. So here we have all the important but confusing at first settings. On the top right we have 3 operational modes that can change how you can pitch bend the chords triggered from the MIDI keyboard. 2 buttons below are related to the pitch bend wheel behavior and can be set differently for each of the 3 modes. In the fixed mode, chord destinations are fixed. The pitch bend action is only possible between adjacent chords. It's pretty limited, but it works nicely with a mouse or a trackpad, even without the MIDI controller. Now let's see what the no last and no return buttons can do. There doesn't seem to be any change. Even reading the help text doesn't make it clear, but there is some significant difference. When no last is off and the pitch wheel is not centered, it will affect the relative note positions. When no last is on, the plugin will ignore the pitch bend wheel position and all the chords will be in tune. Now, every time I'm triggering the chords, the pitch bend wheel returns to the centered position. On the other hand, when the no last feature is turned off, I can access the whole world between the chords. No return will ignore the return travel of the pitch bend wheel. No return off versus no return on. In the Fluid mode, I can freely glide between any of my 8 chord pads. In my opinion, the best, most playable settings for the Fluid Chords plugin are Fluid mode, these no last and no return buttons engaged. It is worth mentioning that gliding between non-adjacent chords is impossible if the initial note is not retained. This can be easily fixed by adding the sustain pedal. The sustain pedal takes Fluid Pitch plugin to a whole new level, and I strongly recommend getting one. This is the easiest and most intuitive way to perform chord pitch bending. The last mode is real time. I'll keep the no last and no return buttons on. Chord presets are not accessible in real-time mode. Instead, I can play the first chord, then use the sustain pedal to transition to the next one using the pitch bend wheel. It opens up exciting possibilities for some extended live performance techniques. Unfortunately, only 2 chords can be linked using this method, and the third one must be retriggered again without the glide. Also, playing chords with 2 hands becomes a problem, as there is no third hand to manipulate the pitch bend wheel. Assigning the pitch bend wheel to an expression pedal would be a good idea. Hopefully, in a future update, custom controller assignment or auto portamento settings will improve real-time mode. Perhaps something like holding the first chord is the middle pedal and the second chord is the right. And yes, some annoying bugs, at least on my system, make the real-time mode unreliable. The pitch bend wheel is frequently stuck in the upward position. This needs to be improved. The standalone version of Fluid Chords can control Ableton Live MPE-enabled instruments. In the Ableton Live MIDI settings, check the track, remote, and MPE boxes for Fluid Chords standalone. On the instrument track MIDI input, choose Fluid Chords standalone. So now the Fluid Chords is taking over Ableton's wavetable, and we can take a look under the hood. A lot of MPE automation. Just imagine drawing it all by hand. One problem with this setup is that my presets for transforming a single note into a chord will work with the internal synth, but not with Ableton instruments. Now, the distribute notes feature comes in very handy. Everything works as expected. There are many ways to make presets for the Fluid Chords software. I can press the Learn button and play some chord progressions. Or I can drop the MIDI file into my DAW and Fluid Chords will learn the chords. My favorite way of making presets is using some chord assistant plugins such as Scalar 2 or one of my favorites, FreeVST Ripchord. Verdict: there aren't many plugins that can achieve what the Fluid Chords can offer. Finally, I can unleash the power of my MPE-capable instruments without having to learn how to play MPE controllers or endlessly drawing MPE automation lines. Of course, there is room for improvement. Some annoying bugs must be ironed out. I definitely want more than just 8 chord paths per preset. And I hope one day we will see a hardware version of the Fluid Chords for MPE-enabled hardware synthesizers. So, if you are still watching, consider subscribing to the channel. Also, sharing this video is a great way to help me out.